Good evening, everybody. I call to order the regular session of the New Kent County School Board, 6 p.m., May 5th, 2025 meeting. Ms. Davis, please take the roll.
Mr. Pagano.
Present.
Ms. Cunha.
Present.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Present.
Mr. Vaught.
Present.
And Mr. Reimer.
Present. All members accounted for. Do I hear a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Ms. Cunha has the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Reimer. Ms. Davis, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Pagano.
Aye. Mr. Vaught, could you please read the certification of closed session, sir?
I will, thank you. Whereas the New Kent County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the New Kent County School Board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the New Kent County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirement by Virginia law were discussed in closed meetings to which this certification resolution applies. And two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the New Kent County School Board.
Thank you, Mr. Vaught. Do I hear a motion to approve the certification?
So moved.
Ms. Dombrowski has the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Reimer has a second. Ms. Davis, please poll the board again.
Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
And Mr. Pagano.
Aye. Thank you very much. Dr. Nichols, do we have somebody who's going to lead us in the pledge?
We do. As I am speaking, the SCA president for George Watkins Elementary is making her, look at that. Are we a team or what?
Perfect.
Is making her way to the podium.
Everybody, please
She
rise.
will also be performing here soon, so we will follow your lead, my friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. All right, next, first item on the agenda, Dr. Nichols, is presentations, recognitions, and school spotlight.
That's
Take it away,
correct.
sir.
So George Watkins Elementary is our school spotlight tonight. You've met our SCA president. Mr. Jarek is now coming in as well with Ms. D and some lovely, talented Wildcats. Welcome, Wildcat. And while they're getting set up, if you have not gone to a musical performance that Ms. D puts together, they are absolutely efficient and fantastic. Mr. Jarek, as soon as they're settled, the floor is yours.
I can't spell, I promise.
Good evening, Chairman Pagano, board members, Dr. Nichols, and guests. Tonight, George Watkins would like to share with you some of our highlights of SCA and conclude with a song performed by some of our first and second grade students. Here to tell you more is Oakley Carlson, fifth grade student at Watkins and our SCA extraordinaire president.
Good evening, Chairman Pagano, board members, Dr. Nicholas. Each year, Mrs. Dickerson picks a song that supports a target that a school has chosen to focus on. This year is spreading kindness throughout our school and community. At the beginning of the year, our SCA worked a lot with Mr. Zemsky and Ms. Madison to brainstorm ways to support this goal. On 2 occasions, our SCA made cards for families we felt needed love and support. For Christmas, we made cards that them and sent them to military families overseas, which we found out when we found out a tornado had destroyed a school called Destiny Elementary in Texas. The mascot was also a wildcat. We knew right away that students needed some cheering. Next we held 2 food drives. One has at Thanksgiving to help Providence United Methodist Church fill their food pantry. We collected and boxed up all the donations and went on a field trip and delivered the food. We had so much food donated they wouldn't need anything for months. Later in the year, for Reed Across America, we collected and counted boxes of macaroni and cheese. We arranged them into real photographs so students could see whoever collected the most. We collected over 600 boxes and donated them to varieties food pantries as well as new camp fishing to help support the backpack program. For Kindness Week, SCA chose to support all the staff with handmade flowers and personal notes. I think they really helped. For kindness, we also greeted students one morning with positive affirmations to remind them how special they are. Thank you for inviting us to share about this year's kindness goal. At George Washington, SCA truly tries to model and set the expectation for our peers and hopes that George Washington will continue to be a safe and happy place for everyone. To close, please enjoy our first and second graders' performance, our school-wide song, Just Be Kind by Stephanie Love.
It sounds like 7-Eleven here when you that doorbell. So.
Okay, I'll be your friend. I know you'll be mine too. New things are hard sometimes. Don't you worry, I'll be by your side. Come, lady, come, lady. The most important thing, and we can all be. Come, lady, come, lady. A very special thing for you and for me. Just because. Just because. Kind words can go a long way. I feel the kind things you say. And nice is just the right thing to do. Don't you worry, I'll be kind to you. Kind is the most important thing that we can all be. Kind is a very special thing for you and for me. Just be kind. Oh, just be kind. I might say you're a good friend, or funny person. I like your ideas and I'll listen to them. When you fall down, I'll help you back up. When you have a bad day, that's okay. Sometimes we're wrong, sometimes we're fun. I'll forgive you and myself 'cause we're worth it. You try to be still. It's us sometimes, but we continue to try to just be kind. That's the most important thing that we can all be. Very special thing for you and for me. The most important thing that we can all be. Come with me, come and know a very special day for you and for me. Just become. Just become. Come, 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 come.
Wow.
Okay, first one's gonna go out this way, go to this side.
Thank you.
Tremendous.
And just for the audience, we are going to finish the recognitions piece, and then we're actually going to take a recess. The way the rain is behind me, it's probably good to hang out for a few moments. So, thank you, George Walker.
Thank you.
If you have to get off the floor in front of the audience.
In the class, we just have on pants in the class.
All right, our next recognition is Support Staff of the Year. And our support staff, we could not do this work without them. We've done Teacher of the Year forever and ever. A few years ago, we made the decision, although the state doesn't require it, that we wanted to recognize everyone in our organization, especially the support staff that really makes this organization go. So we surprised them at their school, and we told them we'd recognize them a few more times. It is Teacher/Staff Appreciation Week, so what a great time to do it. And then we'll celebrate them one more time. So we do want to recognize them tonight. So we're going to start with George. No, we're not starting with George. We're starting with Trinity Elementary School, and we have our school-based substitute, office support superintendent trainer extraordinaire, Nicole Highsmith. Waiting for the banner. Oh, we're gonna do, you have to sing, so.
Oh, okay.
Sing the song. No, you will go over there, that way we take a sports step. You just have to go first and stand there the longest. Our next awardee is from George Watkins Elementary, and Becky Davis really does it all, so congratulations, Ms. Davis.
Thank you.
All right, our next awardee, we're gonna stay elementary. And words can't describe what Ms. Bennett actually does to make New Kent Elementary an incredible place. So we want to celebrate her and recognize her. Moving up to the middle school. New Kent Middle School, the quiet voice that makes things go in that classroom is Jamaica Kirk. I actually did not see her card, and we'll make sure she gets this. So our high school support staff of the year has double honors because this year our high school staff support person of the year is also the division staff support of the year. And we didn't know that she would make it on time. So sometimes the weather is a blessing because she's the athletic trainer extraordinaire and she takes that gator all over the field. So we thought we'd have to delay a little bit, but congratulations, Miss Emily Eastep. Questions again? Division sports staff person.
All right, for custody.
And grab the chair too. Oh, no, that's a better picture without us going in.
I want to be. The picture. Gonna get one more. Yes, handle it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, come on.
Next up.
Congratulations, guys. That's awesome.
All right, continuing recognition. There we go. It is also Teacher Appreciation Week, so we are celebrating our teachers and staff everywhere this week. There's no corner unturned that does not have some amazing food, so it's also the week that you gain 10 to 15 pounds. So this is the week we celebrate our teachers and staff and all that we do. So if you see a teacher, see a part of Team New Cat, please thank them for their incredible work and what they do each and every day. So it is Teacher Appreciation Week. It is also, May is very busy, the recognition of School Nutrition Employee Week. So April 28th to May 2nd, our school nutrition employees are lunch heroes. Often they wear capes and are dressed up as such. So we want to thank them for their hard work and everything they do to provide thousands and thousands of meals to our students. It is also recognition of Children's Mental Health Awareness Day. That is May 7th. It's dedicated to raising awareness about the importance of children's mental health and well-being. It emphasizes that children's mental health is crucial for a child's healthy development, and we do have a mental health grant that we work in partnership with the Virginia Department of Education. So definitely want to recognize that. It's also recognition of School Nurse Appreciation Day. Initially, for most of, we good?
Tornado warning.
Great.
Carry on, sir.
Carry on.
It's School Nurse Day. It's been set aside to celebrate our school nurses.
You have the alerts.
Yeah.
Me too.
Do you have that set for New York or Providence Forge?
We're going to continue the meeting, but everybody stay in the building at least for the next 20 to 30 minutes.
Sir?
Yep.
New Kent Elementary, Amy Coyle and Karen Fish, George Watkins Elementary, Linda Acree, Kimberly Dotson, Quinton Elementary School, Debbie Harrison, Lindy Duncan, New Kent Middle School, Amber Ronan and Sue Bell, and then Julia London and Patricia Van Fossen. We commend them and celebrate them. It is also recognition of Better Speech and Hearing Month and Speech Pathologist Day. That is May 18th. Dedicated to raising awareness about communication disorders and celebrating the contributions of our amazing speech language pathologists. Next up is our Senior of the Month, and I don't believe
Yes.
never mind. Let me introduce you to our Senior of the Month, who is none other than Isaiah Coles. Senior of the Month was started last month. So we had our first Senior of the Month. We want to introduce you to Isaiah. Isaiah is an incredible student who's going to tell you more about his career plans and what he plans to do after high school. So Isaiah, I'll get the podium for you because we kind of. The floor is yours, sir. Thank you for being here.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, school board members, Dr. Nichols, and guests. My name is Isaiah Coles. For my E-decision, I chose enrollment. This fall, I will be attending Virginia Commonwealth University to receive a degree in music. I chose enrollment because I've known ever since freshman year that I want to dedicate my life to music. It has proven to be an invaluable source of joy, growth, and connection, and it is something I cannot live without. After exploring my options, I realized that continuing my education at a university with rooted connections and dedicated professors would give me the best foundation for my career. At VCU, I plan to major in music performance, focusing on low brass, more specifically, the tuba. After college, I hope to perform professionally, teach music, and bring the joy of music to others. A class at Newcomb High School that has been instrumental in helping me reach this point is the band classes with Mr. Hess. His encouragement, guidance, and dedication to music has helped me grow not just as a musician, but as a person. His ability to connect with others through music has inspired me to do the same. As I move forward and pursue music at the next level, I hope to carry that same spirit with me. Before I finish, I would like to sincerely thank Mrs. Strickland for nominating me as Senior of the Month. I am truly honored to be recognized. I also want to thank my parents for their constant support and encouragement along the way, as well as the countless sacrifices they have made throughout this journey. I truly could not be here where I am today without them. I am grateful as well to the many mentors who have helped me along the way, such as the VCU professor, Jeff Hudson, whose guidance over the past 4 years has been an incredibly important part of my musical growth. I am incredibly thankful for all the people who have believed in me and helped me reach this point. I'm excited for the future, and I look forward to carrying everything I've learned here at Newcomb High School into the next chapter of my life. Thank you.
Tremendous.
We appreciate you swimming in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
When I say I get to work with incredible young people every day, Isaiah definitely embodies that. So we have some state champions. We hope to have more state champions. We'll talk about that later with the athletes of the month. Bridging Communities recently went to states, and they took, I believe, 5 students to states, and 3 of them are part of Team New Kent and also Team Bridging, I guess, together. So the first person we want to recognize tonight is Caleb Merritt, who is the state champion in HVAC. Switching. So Caleb is going to work for Merritt Homes. So he is already on his employment pathway. So very proud of Caleb. I could have used you last week. Seriously, I don't know why I didn't call you. So that is Caleb. Next up, we have Harrison Adams. I'm older, Harrison. I'll forget if I don't read it. Harrison is the state champion in Marine Services Technology at the Skills USA competition. Now, fun fact, Harrison has already decided on his next steps in the employment pathway, and he picked an incredible employer. He's going to work for
You can't count it.
Costco, not
Yeah.
schools. Okay, yeah, we're very territorial. Newton County Public Schools. So we're very excited he's going to join our maintenance team. Okay. We also had a 3rd place winner, and that was Nathan Sweeney. Nathan, for his achievement in power equipment technology. So
Take it, I'm his mom. I'm here for my daughter.
Mom's doing double duty today. Well, thank you, Mom. Want to make sure you board members, none of this work can be done. They will also represent us in nationals, I believe, which is in
June in Atlanta.
June in Atlanta. Board members, your commitment to Bridging Communities. We've added 20 more seats this year, but really none of this could be done without Dr. Ellis, who is the director of Bridging Community. She really makes this go in opportunities like this. So congratulations again, guys, and thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Right. So next up, we're going to recognize our athletes of the month. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the first one before she comes up here. So Kenley Rowe, actually, it'd be more embarrassing if you came up here first, right? Let's do that. All right, Kenley Rowe is our athlete of the month. So congratulations. Let me tell you a little bit about Kinley. Kinley is a 10th grade student at New Kent High School working through honors level coursework on her advanced diploma. She's the daughter of Mike and Amy Rowe. In addition to being a star softball athlete, she's also a hardworking student. She currently has a 3.6385 grade point average and is recognized as an honor roll student. She's held the highest batting average on the team with is that possible? Seven, these are the stats I have, so it's official. 727 average. She scored 15 runs, 10 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 0 errors at second base. She leads by example, puts the team first, and she is fantastic. She plans to follow the enrollment pathway with hopes of becoming a nurse. So want to congratulate Kinley on being our student athlete of the month. Our next student athlete of the month is none other than Michael Hetzel. Let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Hetzel. He's a 12th grade student at New Kent High School working through dual enrollment level coursework, pre-calculus, calculus, biology, and honors level English on his advanced diploma. He's the son of Tim and Melissa Hetzel. Off the field, he also excels in the classroom as he upholds a 4.176 GPA and has been recognized as an honor roll student for quarters 1, 2, 3, and soon to be 4. He's had an outstanding start to his senior baseball season. These stats are at the time I got him, so if they're a little off and I missed a home run, I'm okay. We're okay. Michael's led our team to an 8-1 start. He's currently batting .522. He leads the team with 17 RBIs and has the most extra base hits on the team. He's a team leader on and off the field. He signed a letter of intent with Roanoke College. He plans to follow the enrollment pathway. He plans to play baseball at Roanoke. He believes the college is the best fit for him, and he's excited about doing big things there. Plans to declare his major in engineering. And Michael, being who he is, wants to thank Coach Ronan and his family for everything he's been able to accomplish. So incredibly proud of him, and tried to get him an extra year of eligibility here in New Kent, but evidently that's not a thing. So congratulations, Mr. Hetzel.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols. We are now going to take a 5-minute recess. Everybody is free to leave, but obviously proceed with caution. We are under a storm warning. Thank you. Session. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. So board members, by now you've had the opportunity to review the items listed in the consent agenda, including the meeting minutes from February 2025 meeting, monthly financials from March of 2025, and the superintendent's recommendations regarding personnel matters. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Vaught has the first. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Cunha has a second. Ms. Davis, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaughn.
Aye.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha
Aye.
and Mr. Pagano.
Aye. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to new business. First item is the launch programming update. Mr. Miller.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Nichols. It's my pleasure to come to you and give you just an update on where we're at with summer for this year. So our goals for this year is, as you can see, provide basically some targeted support for students who basically need building of some skills over the summer just to be ready for the next school year. And so we're focused on sort of what are those skills, those entry-level skills for the next school year that would be most helpful, and having teachers provide support there. We're also at the upper level providing recovery classes. So what recovery classes are for students who were unsuccessful in classes during the year, so and need to recover those credits. And then we also do some SOL prep courses at the high school level. For a student to graduate, they must pass one SOL in every subject area. And so we want to provide as much basically remediation ahead of time or immediately following the course, and then retest. So those students who are taking the SOL prep courses will actually test this summer again. And so it's a quick turnaround to try and get them remediated on the skills they missed. And then also our students with disabilities, if they have it in their individualized education plan, then they will have extended school year program in the schools as well at all levels. There we go. So we've been working with, we have admin interns at each of the elementary schools and middle school and at the high school, and they basically are the admin for summer school. And so I've been working with them on identifying students to invite, and we're looking at basically benchmark scores or class grades or information on how students have done throughout the year as an initial selection to invite. And then as we've started to give SOLs last week and this week, as students, if we see students who have struggled on those, then we're adding them into the list as well. And to go ahead and get them in there. And that's for elementary and middle. High school, it's basically students who were not successful in a course or were not successful in an SOL. And either way, from either end, high school, remember, we're all semester. So anyone who was in the first semester who wasn't able to get it, basically a repeat class in their second semester, they will be invited to come for something. So we're going to be starting right after school lets out this year with still another shortened summer, but then the addition of time back at the beginning of June. We want to just jump straight into it as early as we could and then go right up to the 4th of July break. And so it does run 4 hours a day, each of the, basically all those. High school, we do go one extra week to get some extra hours in for the recovery courses because they do need, since they're recovering an entire course, need more time.
And board members, I just want to point out, because you've had some of these discussions, and Ross can talk specifically about the funding piece related to it. We're trying to maximize the money that we have allocated for summer. So if we were to do, let's say, a full day, or let's say 6 weeks, 7. So the funding associated with that is not present now. We're already relying on, we were ESSER grants first, now we're doing some all-in grants. So the idea of doing more, we talk about quite a bit. Right now, this has us maximizing the funds we have allocated for summer. So if we wanted to do something different or more, we really have to look at that differently from a financial aspect. So just wanted, as he was kind of going that through, we've talked about it quite a bit, the length, the times, and all of those different components too. So once again, we're ineligible for a lot of grants that support extended learning because of how successful we are as a school division. So success sometimes is held against you in the world of grants. So, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. we are looking at other forms of funding for coming years because we came to the end of ESSER, now we're coming to the end of All In, and so we'll need extra funding. And as Dr. Nichols said, either our achievement and or the other thing they look at is your free or reduced lunch list, and we don't have a high enough percentage there to really qualify for a lot of grants. So, but we are going to be looking for additional funding for next year and see basically how we can work things differently for next year. The different components that we are going to have is we will have reading and math are the main two subject areas we'll be focused on for elementary and middle. All classes will include pre-test, post-test, beginning and end. We will have STEAM classes at the elementary school that students cycle through for a little bit, and then middle school will have resource classes as well to go ahead and give them a different way, basically, of hitting some of those literacy and math skills. And then high school, again, like I said, credit recovery, it's basically a shortened version of what they took during the year to try and hit just the skills that they missed during the year.
Why offer the resource classes?
Basically, it's some of it is we talked about removing them this year because we had it in the past. There was a feeling that basically if we went a full 3 or 4 hours on reading and math, students would burn out some, and they already got that feedback last year. We asked at the end of the year, and so there's we do already have students who don't come, and because it's summer, and we want to get as many on here as we can who need it.
Any other board member have a question?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Vaught?
Mr. Miller, I'm assuming, and which is a terribly dangerous thing to do, but in terms of communication with the parents, has this been ongoing that the parents are following either the failure part of it or they're fully aware? In other words, at the end of the school year, my student, my son, my daughter is gonna need to be a part of this.
Yeah, most of the students who have been invited have been receiving intervention throughout the year.
Okay.
And so they're aware of their student, that we're trying to provide as much intervention as they can for their student. And so they're pretty much all aware. Unless there's something came up weird on the SOL that suddenly we had a student that for some reason, they just didn't do well on the SOL. Other than that, pretty much all of these students that have been receiving some type of intervention.
And Mr. Chair, if I can follow up with that.
Please.
Have we considered, and is it feasible for a public/private type grants involving the community for students? I can't think of any business or any individual who wouldn't want to see a student have more time and do better.
Mm-hmm. We haven't looked for any specific private ones, but we would not be against that.
I mean, is that something that we can?
Yeah, we can definitely look into that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome. Any
Mr.
other?
Chair?
Please.
As far as the number of, do we have like an approximate number of students that will be invited? Right now, I know there's some still things up in the air, but.
Yeah, so at elementary, we've invited approximately 300 and about the same number at middle school. I'll say the return rate has not been high, and we've basically sent out direct invitations. We've had teachers calling home and talking with parents, and the return still hasn't been all that high. And middle school, we've at this point, this past week, we just went ahead and opened it up and sent it out as a general. Hey, if you'd like to come, we have these that have already said they're coming. But anybody else who would like to come, we're taking people as well.
Gotcha. And then one more question, if I may. In regards to the high school students or middle school, maybe what they don't pass the class, if I understood it correctly, this opportunity gives them the ability to, in that period of time, pass the class so they don't have to take it again.
Correct.
Great.
Correct. Yeah, high school. Yeah.
High school, okay,
Yeah.
great. And then I do have one more question. In regards to the SOL test, or just the testing in general, they'll be tested before and after. I'm assuming, again, a dangerous thing, but getting the results presented to the school board.
Yes,
That would
definitely.
be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oh, sorry.
Just
Go
one
ahead.
question. It's still called Launch, so is it pretty much the same program as last
Very similar
year?
to last year, yeah.
With just those tweaks with the reading and the math?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's more of a focus on the reading and math.
Okay, because last year you did both during that time. Um, are students who are struggling more in math going to have more time to devote to that, or is it still going to be split between
It's
reading
still
and
gonna be
math?
split between both.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
thank you.
Moving on, approval of fiscal agents and authorized signatures, Ms. Morgheim?
Mr. Chair, board members, Dr. Nichols. Two things tonight. One thing that's in board docs is actually the authorization of signatures in absence of the division superintendent. So Jonathan Hockman, Assistant Sup of Operations, and Haney Morgheim, myself, Chief Administrative Officer. We are requesting approval for a 1-year period this evening that we're able to sign basically anything that the superintendent could sign, and we only sign if by chance he's not available. So it's not very often, but sometimes required. Separate of that, I do believe you all need to just make note that I'm your fiscal agent along with Dr. Nichols as well, so that we can make financial decisions on behalf of the school board. So 2 separate items, kind of similar reasoning behind.
And board members, this is an annual, this time last year, we'll come before you every May with this annual update, so.
And if the authorization runs June to June?
Correct. Well, July 1st to
July
June
1,
30th.
correct.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions of Ms. Morgheim?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller, you're up again, sir. Federal grants, federal programs grant.
Great, members of the board, have bring the federal program grants before you. This is 4 of our federal program grants, titles 1, 2, 3, and 4. And those applications are due July 1. So we start now with a first read this month in May, and then a second read in June that'll then come up for vote in June. So just to give you a little bit of an overview of what each of them is for. So Title I is intended to provide funding for low-income, basically schools with low-income students to provide extra intervention for those students. And while it says, schools with high numbers or high percentage of students from low-income families, pretty much every division in Virginia has the opportunity to apply for these, and we'll get them if they apply with basically an application that is approvable by the state. So even though we have a lower percentage, we still can apply for it and get a certain amount of funds that are guaranteed to us. Title II, and so that is provide intervention services as well as services for homeless students, as well as parent engagement activities. And I'll go into that a little bit. I'll give the specifics. Title II focuses on teacher quality, making sure teachers are licensed as well as receive professional development. Title III is to support English learners and provide extra services for them. And Title IV is this newer grant that came out about 6 or 7 years ago, and it's called a student support grant. And so you can basically put money in different pockets for technology or for expanding the well-roundedness of education or college career life planning. So going through each one of them more specifically, Title I, this is our largest of these 4 grants. We received, we're anticipating at least $309,000, $313.26, because they do try and guarantee you get the same as the previous year. And that's what we got this past year. We currently have 2 of our elementary schools who are eligible for Title I. To be eligible, you have to have a free and reduced lunch percentage less than the division average. And so,
Higher.
Hi, sorry,
That's
free
right.
and reduced has to be higher.
Your free reduced lunch has to be higher than the division
Higher.
average.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're.
And so so George Watkins was eligible up until last year, and their free and reduced lunch fell below the division average. So, the usage of these funds, as I had said, we use them for intervention services, mostly through salaries and benefits for some of our specialists, our reading and math specialists. We also use it to provide materials, supplies for those specialists to use, as well as some of the teachers to use. We use it to fund some of our parent engagement events. So if we have, say, food at a parent engagement event or some sort of books that we give away for a parent engagement event, build a home library, things like that, we can use Title I funds for that. We also, our school social worker, Carolyn Kelly, she works with our homeless population. And so she uses funds there to also support students that are currently experiencing homelessness. Title II, this past year, we received $65,390.35. So we expect at least that much. We use this for a couple different things to promote teacher quality. One is tuition assistance for teachers to either extend their licensure to a new area or to go to school to keep their license, or to, if we have students or teachers who have a provisional license, meaning they haven't quite finished their licensure, then we'll use it for tuition assistance there. We also have a mentor program for all new teachers, and we use this to pay small stipends for all our mentors. We pay for conferences for teachers to attend to go ahead and provide professional development. We do have some consortiums that we're members of that provide professional development for our teachers. And then also to help teachers with endorsements as they are trying to progress as far as the number of endorsements they have. One case of that is right now we're using it to fund some teachers to get their ESL endorsement this summer. And so we sent out a survey and had about 10 to 11 people say, I'd love to sort of go to that program, learn how better to assist those students because that population is growing. So, yeah. Speaking of, Title III is to support our ESL population. This is our smallest grant. We only get about $4,100 for that. We use that to get materials to support the instruction for our ESL population, also to provide professional development for both our classroom teachers as well as our ESL teachers. We do use it for some parent engagement events for our ESL families. And then also we purchase some assessments that we use for progress monitoring throughout the year before they get to state assessments towards the end of the year. Lastly is our Title IV grant. There we received $22,500. We use that to fund some career planning software that we use for our students to both explore careers at the elementary level, and then they build their academic career plans starting in middle school with that software. It follows them through and actually interfaces with PowerSchool, our scheduling software, so that as they look at career pathways, they can see the courses that would align with that and that they would want to schedule into. We also use that to pay for welding course enrollments for our students, 4 students per year to go to the welding program at RCC. And those students have the opportunity to earn up to 4 credentials in the welding field while they're in that program. Then we also use it to provide STEAM materials for our STEAM classes at the elementary level. So this is a first read. The grant applications are in there if you'd like to read through those. They are extensive. One of the things that you'll note that I didn't talk about in here is any private schools that are within our geographic area, we must offer Title II, III, and IV services to. And so we do have one private school within our geographic area, and they do take part. And so our Title II and Title IV. So some funds do go to the private school for that. For Title I, it's actually a little bit different. We actually have to contact any school that may be receiving one of our students from the Title I schools. So we actually contacted 43 different private schools this year, and thankfully none of them wanted any money. So they all declined, and so we're able to keep all that locally and use that to fund our interventions here locally.
Mr. Miller, I have a question. Back to the Title I grant, obviously out of the total of funds, it gets proportioned between the items you have listed there under fund usage. But I'm curious, do we have a range of students in New Kent that are experiencing homelessness?
So yes, each year we have, it's not so large, but each year we have between 15 to 30 students that are experiencing homelessness that we provide materials throughout the year.
And just to make a point of clarification, the definition of homeless.
That's my next question.
Does not necessarily mean that they're not, it could be I'm living with a relative or a family friend. I do not have my own residence and I'm experiencing those different pieces. We also have students because under the McKinney-Vento Act, we're required to continue to provide education if a student experiences homelessness, even if it means they're outside of our district. So I can get you exactly where we go, but right now we're going to several other jurisdictions to pick up kids who have become homeless during the year, so that they have the continuity of George Watkins Elementary, or they have the continuity of New Kent High School. When their world is changing, we can continue to give them what we do every day. So federally, under federal law, we're required to do that. But it's not necessarily, it's multiple definitions of homeless.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and we can use Title I funds to provide that transportation. We have not needed that as of yet. Mr. Hens has been able to do that without the Title I funds. So mostly we use that for back to school items, backpacks, and pencils, notebooks, things like that, as well as more recently, people getting ready for graduation. We're able to buy caps and gowns for students.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I do have one, Mr.
Ms.
Chair.
Cunha?
Mr. Miller, how many ESL students do we currently have? Is that number growing and has it grown since last year?
Yes, so this year we've had a pretty large influx of students. So we currently have there, we have 55 students who are either in either classified as ESL or currently in monitoring status. So once the student tests out, you have to monitor them for 4 years afterwards to make sure that they're still making progress.
Mhm.
Approximately, I think we're in the like 44, 45 range currently identified as ESL. We've had this year, over the last 2 years, we've almost doubled in 2 years. This past year, we've had a larger influx of students who are coming in with basically a lower proficiency in English than what we've had in the past. So when you measure English proficiency, it's on a scale from basically 1 to 5, technically 1 to 6. But once a student gets to above 4, to a 5, they test out of ESL. So all those students, a lot of students we've been getting this year are testing in a level 1, which means basically extensive support is needed, and it's very little English. And in some cases, they have limited formal instruction from the country they're coming from, and so there's a variety of different supports we put in place to help those students.
Level 1 in kindergarten, all day, every day.
Right,
Because
right,
it is
that's-
level 1 as a junior, and I
Right.
think we're starting to, some of our growth is in areas that we weren't really anticipating in secondary schools.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had a lot of middle school, high school growth this past year.
I was going to ask that
With,
next, yes.
And a lot of them are coming in with sort of a level 1 to level 2 proficiency.
Wow. And so my last question is, why is the grant amount so low? Is it based on the number of students
So-
or?
It is based on the amount of grant funds that come to the state, and then they divide that down by how many you have in your division.
Okay.
And so, yes, so we have we're a low incident division, and so we don't get very much. And the grant in and of itself just is small to start with, even at the state level.
Yeah.
It is insufficient to provide the support that our students really need.
Most definitely, yes.
So,
And I think that's a good point too, Ross. While we do have the federal grants, it's a very small part of our overall budget.
Yeah.
So all of these things we also do from an operating perspective.
Sure.
yeah, we have three ESL staff, full-time staff members. So, I mean, that's way above $4,000 to have those services.
Yeah.
And then we also provide additional materials for them above and beyond $4,000.
What's the cost to us of the grant application?
No. It's free to apply.
Yes.
And the time that goes into it, which is probably more of what you're leaning towards there, it's a couple of hours to fill out the application.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
couple of questions. With the state, with the Department of Education being in flux, I guess, I noticed that they have the Department of Education for Virginia on them. Is that always just funneled through them and then makes its way to the state?
Yes, so federal grants, most of them, that are these title grants, flow through the state as an agency, and then from the agency, then they flow it out to the local agency. There are some grants that have straight flow through to the division, but they're very few. And we had one that we did for a couple of years, which was for Native American population, and it did not go through the state.
And so nothing at this point has changed in that regards as to how that operates.
Currently, yeah, no, currently, nothing is being adjusted. I mean, we're keeping an eye on it, to see if any of these get readjusted. But as of right now, they have not indicated that any of these are being adjusted.
And this, Nebraska, my understanding is where they originate at the federal level will shift, but
Sure.
our process on our end with the state should not, as of 6:58.
Yeah, stay
Right.
tuned. And then how is it determined how much will go to the local private school?
Good question. So it actually is dependent on how much we're spending on each individual student within our division. So we take a look at, we do our part of the grant first, and then private school, it's a big Excel document, private school tabs towards the end. And we have to get information from the private school, how many students they have and how many students would qualify for that specific grant. And so we fill that in, and it then goes back and looks at, well, how much did you spend towards your students? And it should be an equivalent amount going to these students. So yeah.
That sounds really fun.
All right, anybody else?
That's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Next up is Code of Conduct Review, Ms. Sutton.
So Ms. Sutton is coming to the podium. She is pinch hitting for Mr. Hoffman, who is not here tonight.
One demerit.
But yeah, this pinch hitter will knock it out of the park. So by day, Stephanie is our assistant principal at George Watkins Elementary School. Also by day / night, she is our division safety leader. So she helps keep us safe and really coordinates with the rest of the schools. And part of safety is the code of conduct. So she's going to talk to you about a first read. Once again, this comes back to you in June, asking for your approval. So Ms. Sutton, thank you for being here. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Nichols, good evening. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Code of Conduct Committee to present the first read of the proposed updates to the 2025-2026 Code of Conduct. This committee included teachers, staff members, parents, and administrators from all 5 schools, as well as a student representative. The changes that I'll outline tonight reflect both the committee's recommendations as well as updates required to align with the revised state reporting categories. Our current code of conduct is divided into 5 sections. This last update from the state has included a 6th section, which is entitled Persistently Dangerous Behavior, which we are proposing to add to our local code of conduct. The next few slides will illustrate the levels of discipline that are assigned to each behavior listed in the code of conduct. They range from level 1, which would be interventions such as apparent contact or after school detention. And then they go through level 2, level 3 and 4, and then up to level 5, which in comparison includes long-term suspensions of more than 10 consecutive days. We will now review each section of the Code of Conduct and the proposed changes. In Section A, behaviors that impede the academic progress, there is 1 proposed revision. In BAP3, the term dishonest will change to dishonesty to read scholastic dishonesty with cheating and plagiarism in parentheses. And this update ensures that we're consistent with state language. In Section B, behaviors related to school operations, this section has several changes. BSO3, refusal to comply with request of staff in a way that interferes with the operation of school. Currently, this behavior has a discipline code of 1, 2, or 3, and the committee is proposing to add a level 4 discipline option. BSO4, this item will be removed to align with the updated state code. And then BSO15, students not going to class as assigned, and BSO16, student in unauthorized area of campus. These are both new additions from the state code. So the committee recommends discipline levels of 1, 2, and 3 for both of these offenses.
And board members, just a reminder on the code of conduct. So the range allows an administrator to make a decision based on the student in front of them. If a student is there for the 3rd time or the severity of what they're doing warrants it, it allows for a greater consequence. So that's why you're seeing level 4 in BSO3, because if you're refusing to comply with requests of staff in a way that, and it's dangerous, then it needs to be more than 5 days. We need to send a message and really be strong with it And the same with the other pieces. So just, that's a lot of the conversation that the committee has had, is giving the school the flexibility when the situation warrants it.
Can I have a quick question? What was BSO for? It said it was moved, but
So several of them are moved into the later persistently dangerous, or they're reworded. And so this one is BSO4 is failure to be in one's assigned area, or assigned place, which then kind of goes to that BSO 15 and 16,
Yeah.
not going to classes assigned and students in unauthorized areas of campus.
makes sense. Thank you.
In section C,
Mr.
Let's,
Chair,
if we could hold our questions to the end of the presentation.
that's fine.
It's for order.
Pertinent to the place that we are, but that's fine.
Go ahead, Ms. Sutton. Thank you.
thank you. Section C is relationship behaviors, and in this section, there are no changes being proposed. Section D is behaviors of a safety concern. BSC 13, engaging in reckless behavior that creates a risk of injury to self or others, which includes shoving, pushing, hitting, biting. The committee is recommending adding a level 4 discipline option here. It is currently 1, 2, and 3 right now. In BSC 17, the wording will change from shoving, pushing, striking a student with no visible injury to minor physical altercation with no injury, and this is to align with the changes in the state code. BSC 20 and BSC 21, these items will be removed as they no longer appear in the state code. If I come to those, these two are actually listed separately in the persistently dangerous, which we'll get to in a second. So they're not being removed as much as they're being moved. The last one in this section is BSC 24. The wording will be revised from leaving school grounds without permission to leaving without permission, elopement. And that is to be consistent with state terminology. Right now, with the previous terminology, it was a level 1 and 2. The committee is recommending a level 3, 4, and 5, just because of what Dr. Nichols spoke about before, the safety of the incident. And the next section, E, behaviors that endanger self or others. The ESO 3, fighting the use of physical violence between students or another person where there is minor injury as determined by the school administrator, currently carries a 1, 2, or 3 level, where the committee is proposing to add a level 4 there also. BESO 8, this will be removed as it has been moved to that new section of the persistently dangerous. BESO 18, crime charged in the community. This is a new addition in the state code, so the committee is recommending adopting it with discipline levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because it can carry such a broad range. The last section is section F, persistently dangerous behaviors. This new section has been introduced by the state. It includes the newly defined behaviors and items previously removed from earlier sections. The committee recommends that all behaviors in this section be assigned discipline levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, along with the involvement of the school resource officer. The next section is we wanted to report on the data from the portable electronic communication device. And right now we have in the middle school, there have been 215 violations involving 140 different students. In the high school, there have been 490 violations involving 347 students.
So board members, you can see in that for most of our students, most of our students have not had a violation. Just over half at the high school. But when you have a violation, that's typically the end of it. So students have done a nice job, staff have done a nice job, and our families have been very responsive as well. In year 1, if you remember code of conduct from last year, most of our conversation was around this topic here. So they've done a nice job of the enforcement and implementation.
So there are two updates being proposed from the committee. The first one is in the first paragraph. The committee proposes to add field trips to the list of times when electronic devices are prohibited. The updated statement would read, students are prohibited from using any electronic device, cell phone and or wireless earbuds during the instructional day, including class changes, lunches, and field trips. And then the second proposed change comes in the first offense section under the secondary consequences table. And the committee is proposing to change the second bullet of the first offense from the teacher calls to state the teacher contacts the guardian confidentially and notifies them that the device is now securely stored in the main office. These are the revisions that reflect the committee's commitment to maintaining a safe and respectful learning environment. We thank you for your time and consideration, and if there are any questions.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Vaughn.
According to Dr. Nichols' comment about the administrators making and make sure that I understood what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
The administrator will make the determination of the level on a particular infraction. Has the state not provided any guideline so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where two different students, same infraction, but are given two different levels, which could ultimately become because that's determined, I realize, the student before then, but it also, I don't think any of us are impervious to some bias or something.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a great question. So the state guidance piece,
The state guidance piece that I know of does not include levels. It just includes the offenses. It does include which ones we have to contact law enforcement for, but other than that, it's my understanding that it does not.
and most of the time, Mr. Vaughn, it goes down to the number of times it's happened. So this would be Miss Stephanie's first offense, or it's her second, similar to the cell phone piece in the second, third, fourth. But another piece that we do behind the scenes with the administrators is to go through the consequences they've given out to students and kind of regulate, check, and balance to make sure that we are doing that. So you take the high school, for example, you have 3 different administrators. That's not true. We have an interns as well that could give out consequences. If I get to, in high school, there was one assistant principal I always wanted to go to, not that I ever went to them. But I knew the consequence was going to be different versus the other piece. So we do behind the scenes that sort of cross-checking piece to try to offset that concern that you have. Absolutely.
Would it not be worth consideration? As if I were the administrator, I would rather have a definitive than an opinion in making a decision so that doesn't come back on me, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Just for conversation's sake,
Yeah.
something we may take up at a work session, but just for consideration.
Well, consideration, so this is a first read. So yeah, I think some of the work we can do now is to consider sort of tasking the committee with that pieces. So some of our ranges are 1 to 5. Like one of the things in my head as we saw the PD, the news section, I don't know that there needs to be a 1 in there at all. So maybe it's 4. So I mean, I think one of the recommendations could be to tighten those ranges.
Yeah.
So that there is, when you have a range of 1 to 5, that's a lot. So I think that's something we can work with Mr. Hockman, Ms. Sutton, and the team on in between.
Thank
Right
you.
now, absolutely.
Anyone else?
I do have one question. I don't know that it pertains specifically to this, but leader in the community approached me at one point and asked if we had anything established where students who have been suspended can go instead of just going home and being allowed to do different things. Or, they're like, yay, I got time off from school. It was something that he mentioned he'd be happy to be involved in, but I'm not sure with the logistics, what we can do as a school, releasing or encouraging a student to be able to attend something outside of something that's governed by the division.
So I've
Just thought I'd
actually
bring it up.
done this in a previous school division, and there are a number of ways that you do it. Your faith-based community is often a great partner in this piece.
Yes.
So what we had done then is we set up, it was called Stay Up While You're Out, but it wasn't at night, so that the name never made sense to me. But so they would go and do their work under supervision. But
Right.
the arrangement was really between the organization and the family, and we didn't really have a piece there. But that is something that we can look at in terms of community partnerships and those pieces. Now, in it, we did not provide transportation and all of those other logistics things that get in the way. But it is something that we can look at, and I think we have some community partners who may be interested in trying that with us, or
Yeah.
at least one,
Yeah.
maybe, you know.
I have a quick question.
Please.
The notion of Saturday school, when I was going through the different levels, I think it appeared once, or how do you determine what would fall under a Saturday school? And is it a matter of staffing and just resources not having enough to have more Saturday school as an option for?
I think that's a big piece of it is the number of people that it would take. I'm in the elementary side, so we don't see that used frequently. Dr. Nichols, can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So the high school is the one that uses it most often. It is a logistics issue in terms of the student has to get there. It is an elongated detention. The high school uses detention quite often and quite well. And we're able to utilize transportation related to that piece too. So there are occasions where they do that. And it's sort of a teacher assignment piece. Teachers basically volunteers. It's a duty assignment.
So the teacher actually runs a Saturday school
yes.
for that student that did cause the infraction?
Students, I mean, it'd be more than,
Students.
more of an efficiency piece with the number of students.
Is
So-
that teacher compensated for that time?
I believe it is a self-selected duty.
So,
Really?
so there are teachers
Hmm.
at the high
That would
school
mean
partnership, and I can get you more information on this, Ms. Coogan, but do have some authority, and everybody has a duty. What duty would you like to do?
I see.
So there are a couple that do detention as their duty. There are some that go to lunch, which may be a detention for the person going to lunch. So it just really depends on the
Okay.
staff member.
Thank you for
So
clarifying.
thank you for the assistance.
Anybody else have a question? All right, Ms. Sutton, I have one.
Okay.
So with respect to, and just because, I'm an attorney, right? So the language is important to me, but with the committee had, I imagine, discussions about the language and adopting the language. Was there any debate about any of the items, or was it sort of, all right, let's just adopt what the state said? And specifically, I've got heartburn over BSC 17, where we're changing a definitive explanation of a type of behavior to say now just minor physical altercation. That's a broad, vague term, subject to interpretation. If my kid's walking by your kid and they bump shoulders, is that a minor physical altercation? Because parents are going to have all kinds of opinions about that. So and that's just a generic question. I'm sure you guys discussed it, but that might be one I would say if the board agrees
Yeah,
that the
could we pull that
committee,
back up, please?
the
Can we see
committee
that?
might want
It's in
to,
section D.
So,
page 11.
Mr.
So-
Pagano, suggest, go ahead, Ms. Sutton.
No, I was just gonna say, we utilize the state code because that's what we report out our discipline on. So there was not discussion as far as the wording of it. We wanted it to match what we have to report to the
Yeah.
state.
But I wonder if it could be inclusive and not exclusive, right? So you could say minor physical altercation, including but not limited to, and then have some categories that people can apply it to.
Some of them kind of, because so many of them were reworded, they're almost reworked in other places. So this, like to use your example of the pushing or the minor physical altercation, the shoving pushing was moved to BSC 13. So when we went and pieced it, there are a whole lot
Yeah.
of pieces that are like moving over here, moving down here, being combined.
Then why separate them?
Because
Like
it's a
that.
state.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. I
They don't
agree
want
with you.
I don't like it.
I don't
Thank
like
you.
that
They
wording.
want complicated,
Yeah.
vague.
All right, Dr. Nichols, you are up again, sir, with VSBA policy updates.
Yes, sir. So it is that time of year. We are bringing to you a first read of 20+ policy updates. Fortunately for you this evening, I am not going to go through all 23.
Thank you.
So I do want to let you know that these are primarily focused on updated language for clarity, cross references, and so forth. So in terms of substantial changes, you're not seeing substantial changes between this meeting and next meeting. Ms. Davis will be putting in where it says blank school board. We'll be putting in New Kent County Public Schools. For example, one of the changes said the blank school division, and they've now changed it to the blank school board, recognizing the school board has the authority, not the school division. So a lot of it is just wordsmithing. And if you're in school system long enough, in 3 or 4 years, you'll see it change back to school division, or we went through a period of saying he or she, and now we name that entity. So like I said, that is really the gist of those updates. And these updates are really only connected to the things that have lines or changes, not the actual content in the policy. So if there's something specific you'd like more information on, I'd be happy to do that. Like I said, it is a first read. I can bring you any of those answers prior to the second read.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
I don't.
You will see a whole host after July 1 with all the General Assembly and the code changes related to that. So we'll clear the queue and be ready for round 2.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Nichols. Policy revision for advertisements, Ms. Morgan.
So board members, this is outside of VSBA. This is a specific New Kent County Public Schools need.
Chair, board members, Dr. Nichols, we have been working with the high school to really try to get a set standard way of raising some funding for our athletic program. So this is coming soon, but we wanted to make sure that what we were trying to do was in line with our policy and procedures. So we looked through our policies and reached out to our legal team just to assist in rewriting policy KJ, which is advertising in the schools, because that really only included publications. And so you'll notice on here, really most of what's written is to authorize the high school and athletic director to be able to sell advertisement on our property. Specifically, what this will look like is banners in our stadium, flags, things of that nature, things on the football field, A-frame signs that would advertise different businesses or community supporters that would also then raise funding for our athletic department. So this policy just clarifies that we're able to do that and that the principal has a discretion. There's certain things that cannot be on there, and usually it'll just be a logo, something of someone that's supporting our athletic program.
And board members, you may see banners out there now. Actually, I think somebody up here has a banner up there. Those are done through the booster organizations. This will allow the school to do it directly, raise the funds directly, spend the funds directly. We have some incredible community members that are ready to step up and support it. The high school's been working really hard behind the scenes to develop a protocol and opportunities. And we have some coaches that are real go-getters that want to do some special things. And we will be opening up a brand new football stadium, or phase 1 of that stadium in the fall. So we think it's a prime opportunity to revise this and really kind of showcase and raise some funds for some incredible things. So this one is a little more time sensitive. Just in this, once we have policy finalized, we can move forward with actually generating the revenue pieces. So so you will see this coming back to you pretty soon if it doesn't require substantial revision.
And this would set the foundation for the things we talked about last time, the ability for example, at the basketball game,
Yes,
or have a sponsor to let all the students in, for example.
So part of the flyer that we've developed has all of those different components in. And what it would do is it would standardize it more, and we'd actually be able to sort of predict some revenue and income coming in. So that when we're making purchases and doing those different things, but yes, it has a student sponsor component to it. It has all different components, and New Kent is an incredibly special place. I say it all the time. Folks are going to rally around this, and it's going to be sort of a game changer. Pardon the pun. But it's also going to set us apart from other places, and I think coaches are going to be here, and it's going to help us build even better programs.
We've really separated it out between business advertisement options and community support options. So all of the items that you'll see as community support options, meals, allowing folks to attend the games, buying passes, things of that nature. Those are already fine. We're doing those things. We're going to beef it up and do it more organized and a flyer. But all of the business advertising options will include the banners and the flags. And we will be the ones that will be purchasing those flags. They'll be consistent. They'll all look very similar. So we'll have control over that. It won't just be folks giving us things to put on our field.
Awesome. Thank you.
Tremendous.
Anybody have any questions?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Please.
How will it be determined how the revenue, so to speak, received is distributed amongst the different teams and organizations?
Great question. Right now, we are really gearing it towards athletics. There's lots of different ways that we could allocate that, but really right now we're looking at filling our needs that we currently have, whether it be support for security or officials or uniform processes, different things that we already have in place. That funding will kind of support those initiatives. Maybe one day down the road, we'll look at having buy-in from teams, but right now what we're really pushing for specific team support is either a direct donation to the school. You could simply write your team name on there and those funds would go directly to that program. Or we are formalizing the Trojan 100, which we plan on having a banner for each team where if Moorcock family wanted to make $100 donation for soccer, Moorcock family would be displayed on that banner as part of a Trojan 100, and that $100 would go directly to the soccer program. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller, you're up. This is course requests, followed by military family resolution.
Speaking of athletics, leadership, and coaches,
Yeah.
Mr. Miller.
I'm none of those, but good evening. So we had one more course that we wanted to get to offer next year. And this is a course to promote leadership amongst our athletes. And so this is an interesting mix of a course where part of the coursework in the classroom is on leadership and building leadership skills. The other part is internship, where they will work with our athletics department to basically maintain equipment, maintain fields, and those things throughout the day to exercise some of the leadership they're learning here in the classroom. So this is it's a new course. There will be there's two different levels, level 1 and level 2 for juniors and seniors. There's no prerequisites to go with it, and it'll be within the physical education department. So happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, it is up for approval this week.
Great. Anybody have a question?
No.
Thank you.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
have-
sorry.
I need to be faster.
No, it's okay.
Was this something that was being requested by students? Something that there's been like an interest in and that's why it was added, or?
It actually, we had a staff member approach and said they had taught this in a previous division and said that they saw great growth within the athletes that they had there. And so we then got and did some surveying and did find that there is interest there. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Military?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So one of the things that we're working on right now is our support for military families. Last month was military, a month of the military child. And we, a couple of years ago, had started looking at our supports, and one of the programs the state does to recognize schools is the Purple Star program. And Dr. Nichols mentioned that we were starting to work on that this year. And so we've been doing different things within our schools. And one of the things that they ask is that the school board basically agreed to a resolution. And this is the resolution that we put together locally but basically they asked, there's some sort of military support resolution. To give you a little bit of sort of around the supports that we're currently putting in place, that you know, sort of what we're doing there is the resolution is really about our commitment to our our students who are military connected, and then the fact that we'll do things that we can to provide the extra supports. So we do have a military liaison currently identified at the division level. Pam Brooks is one of our school social workers. And then we have a military liaison identified at our middle school and high school. And they are currently, they've gone through training and they're working on providing training to our faculty on what are the different supports that military students would benefit from. We're also in the early stages of basically implementing a peer-to-peer mentor program where as new students come in, they're military connected, they'll be connected with a student who's already been here, who also is military connected, who can take them around, give them a tour, and get them introduced into social groups, as well as just help them to understand, hey, if I need to do something in school, here's how it happens. And so that is already, like I said, in progress at middle and high school. We have students who've already been identified who are interested in being mentors next year. We're going through the training process right now. And so we'll have that in place for the start of next year. Next steps is we're going to be working with the elementary schools. They have had liaisons in the past. We just we need to re-identify them and then get those programs going there as well. But look forward to doing that in the next couple of weeks. So we do have this resolution for you to approve if you so desire this evening.
Sounds great. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Anybody have any questions?
No, I love it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, we are moving on to school board goal review and updates. And out of the 3 items, we have 1.
Sir?
Dr. Nichols, strategic plan update, please.
Yes, sir. Let bring you a quick strategic plan update, board members. Last month, we talked about goal 1. We're going to go in order, so we're going to talk about goal 2 tonight. So just a reminder of our strategic plan and our 4 goals. Goal 2 is all about the recruitment and retention of highly effective talent, and what an incredible time to do that as we begin the process of issuing contracts. So it's really, and you heard this thread through Mr. Miller's presentation with the federal grants and how we support teachers and support staff. You got to see it with our support staff tonight too. So we want to dive in with that goal. There we go. So we have several strategies underneath and also the key performance indicators related to it. Similar to the last meeting, I want to dive into one specific strategy. There we go. And that's define, develop, and implement professional growth strategies and opportunities for each employee career. In order to do that, you need to know the certifications, endorsements, and degrees that they currently have in order to continue to build that out. So just wanted to give you a glimpse of where we are now. As we work on salary scales, work that Ms. Morheim's been doing throughout the budget process, you know that we focus on teachers with master's degrees and continue to emphasize that scale. Part of that has to do with knowing the teachers that we have. So of our teachers, 114 currently hold a bachelor's degree. We're working with several on the master's degree piece, and 145 hold a master's degree. We have 25 teachers that have a professional license. They do have a degree. We're just partnering with them and the state. We're partnering with them to navigate the state and the certification process for licensure. So we have 25 teachers there. I want to tell you a few quick stories about our teachers. So the first is Mr. Wolf, who came to us from another state, who we had to work through the reciprocity process. Tammy Waters and Allison Anderson. Tammy really walks people through the licensure piece, is able to take a teacher teaching from another state and make sure they have the reciprocity to get the license that they need. Just another example of the work we're doing under this strategy is Leslie Wolf. Yes, relation. If you're a teacher and you're married to a teacher, we're trying to get you both. And to do an add-on endorsement. So what else could you teach? So partnering with them and also using that tuition reimbursement money you saw in the federal programs to make that happen. Our division teacher of the year is also a career switcher. So Lee Jordan does a fantastic job in the science world at the high school, but she started as a substitute for us. So we're able to partner with her and work down that pathway to be a teacher. One of my favorite stories this year is New Kent Elementary School, and that's Lori Watson. Lori was a bus driver for us, and if you can navigate 50 kids going down 249 in the rain, you can navigate a fifth grade classroom, and she is doing that beautifully, but just partnering with people on alternate pathways. Teacher Washington is a fantastic math teacher at the middle school, but it's an example of starting with a paraprofessional. We have a lot of examples of that and kind of building them out to be a teacher. We also were unique in the fact most school divisions don't do this, but we do our career switcher program. You don't have to work for us. You just have to live in the county or work for us. And Samantha Christian is doing a fantastic job at George Watkins Elementary. Started as the community member to the teacher piece. And then, of course, we're also doing the student or student teacher to teacher piece. And Patrick Kimray now leads English at New Kent Middle School. So what is the strategy to be fully staffed? All of that and then some. So continue to find pathways, but it starts with knowing where your folks are, and not just where your teachers are, but where every employee is and what their hopes and dreams are, and how do we get them to that next point. So showed you some quantitative data that was really from Mr. Reimer, and then some qualitative data and tell some great stories about our employees. Next month, board members, we're going to take on goal 3, which is the perfect time to do that because we're heading into summer, where we'll look at organizational efficiency and effectiveness and talk about strategies and KPIs there as well. So be happy to answer any questions. We'll certainly bring you updates, whether it's in my Friday follow-ups or future board meetings about hiring and staffing.
Mr. Chairman? Yes, sir. I have one statistical question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
There was no differentiation between masters of education and masters of subject matter masters.
Correct.
Do you have any data on that?
I can get you that data.
Well, you should get, if you're going to get it, it should be to the board.
Yeah, so we can definitely do, so Masters of Education versus Masters of Content area, that separates dual enrollment from that.
That's exactly.
Yes, sir. We have it. I don't have it currently, but we definitely have it.
Anybody else? No one had asked that question.
I'm a little upset I didn't anticipate that one.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Dr. Nichols. We are moving on now to item 8 of the agenda, items for vote of consideration. So the following items, board members, you may recall, were tabled at our last meeting. These items are back on tonight they were tabled for additional information, additional details in a proposed framework. So tonight they're back up for an informational update by Ms. Dombrowski.
All right, so on the monitoring progress webinar that I had proposed, it is a total of 1 hour, 16 minutes and 35 seconds. The cost for the entire board to watch it is $160, so broken out, $32 per member. Again, we are required to have certain number of professional development hours. It is considered professional development. It's not a legally required professional development, much like FOIA is. This is just a professional development course. So I appreciate Dr. Nichols reaching out to SBA to get that information for me, and they would just work through Johanna and making sure that that's all paid and we have the ability to access it without any issues regarding copyright or whatnot. Any additional questions on that?
No question.
So, no, sorry. Evaluation of school board operational procedures. This is something that I had recommended that we do as part of a work session per policy AFA, and then also section P of the New Kent County School Board Governance Norms and Protocols, which specifies that annually the school board will assess itself to determine the effectiveness of the board in the discharge of its role through both individually and as a board through self-reflection and or the use of an evaluation instrument developed by the board. Now that is something we can find, or as we discussed last time, if it's something that we want to remove from the policy, instead of evaluating ourselves or having somebody else evaluate us, I have not put any more effort or time into determining what measure or metric we may want to use in that effort, since there seems to be some differentiation on whether or not that's something we actually want to pursue. But again, it could be used as just a way to determine short-term and long-term goals and have an opportunity to discuss what each of us wants to do at the school board. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I think the last time we asked, was there any model or tool out there that you were aware of that looked good that you could share with the board?
I decided not to put any more effort
Time?
into finding that, since if it was determined that we didn't want to use one,
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I volunteer to go ahead and evaluate myself tonight and be done with it.
Moving on, Mr. Boraski, to the next
Okay.
one, please.
You bet. The last one is the November 7th Victims of Communism Memorial Day Initiative. If you remember, this is something that was proposed by the Civics Alliance that was, I came across, and it includes the endorsement or the encouragement of the Victims of Communism Memorial Curriculum, which became something we wondered if that could be included or adopted into our curriculum. I believe Mr. Vaught was, past experience had indicated that unless it was on the VDOE website as an approved resource, then it couldn't be utilized. I did some research. I can't find anything in code or on the VDOE that specifies that that is the case. I did send out an email to get some more information on that as within New Kent. I'm still waiting to hear back on that. But again, I can't find anything that says we can't use any curriculum that's not included. But by all means, I did not do an exhaustive search. That's just my understanding now. And then one of the other questions was, what do I envision as a part of adopting this? I think it's important to keep it small and simple. I don't want to put any undue pressure or stress on the teachers, but I would like to use it as a way to at least have some an opportunity to have some kind of lesson taught, at least in the middle and the high schools. Again, there is some curriculum coming out for 4th and 5th grade, which focuses on the freedom movements. So it's a little bit more upbeat. I think there's also with the different televisions in the different schools, that could be used to maybe at least say, you know, today is Victims of Communism Memorial Day, perhaps put up some different stats about communism and why it's important that we remember what it, you know, over 100 million people have been killed essentially because of communism. And I think it's important that we remember that. Also, perhaps in the moment of silence that occurs, that could be something that's mentioned. These are just a couple thoughts, but again, just keeping it simple. Maybe throughout the years, teachers will come up with other ideas. There is that free professional development online available through the Victims of Communism. There's also, in addition to the curriculum, they have witnesses where it's just brief videos where somebody who has suffered through communism in some way, they provide their experience, and that's something that's simple enough that again could be vetted by the teachers and they could determine if that's something they want to use. But again, I think it's better to leave it up to each teacher as to what they want to do. And again, it would be focused primarily middle and high school with a little bit maybe for 4th and 5th grade.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair,
Sir?
I think in policy, we're required to review curriculum, not create curriculum, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not interested as a board member to take this up and have the board make the decision. I would certainly be willing to have administration, those who set the curriculum, look at this as a possibility or not, and accept their decision on where this goes or where this doesn't go. That's my response to that.
Thank you, Mr. Vaught. Anyone else have any comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Cunha?
I agree that it should be a partnership with curriculum, with administration. Certainly the topic is relevant and important, and it's an opportunity for more discussion. More discussion on an important topic is always better than less discussion. But I really think that it should be in coordination with Mr. Miller and curriculum people, that maybe we could take a look at it if they're in agreement to doing so, and proceed from there.
Mr. Chair, I don't think that I think we're stepping over the line from board to administrative in this matter. Yes, and this has nothing to do with the relevance or the irrelevance of the subject matter or whatever. It's got to do with our board responsibilities. We don't create curriculum. We approve curriculum and review curriculum. So, like I said, I think this is something that if there is a call from administration and or the teaching staff and administration to look at this, then we look at it and we review it as according to policy. If not, then we don't. I would recommend that we not spend any more time on it. This is the second meeting. We have been discussing it. We have been listening. And with all due respect, I don't feel like it's part of the board's responsibility.
Mr. Reimer?
Yes, I fundamentally disagree with that. I fundamentally think that board has a role in the curriculum. If nothing else, there's a policy role. And I think we can easily discover a policy role in this and delegate the fleshing out of curriculum.
What would that policy be?
That we advocate that we teach that the historic evils of coming.
What is the policy numbers of what I'm asking?
I haven't worked it out yet.
Okay.
I'm responding to
I
your
think you have a policy.
assertion that there is no role for the board in this.
Thank you.
And I disagree, and I think we can work something out that isn't necessarily a creation of curriculum, but a directive to create curriculum.
I don't know of any policy that gives us that.
Well, I think.
All right, gentlemen, we're not going to engage in a debate. These items were actually tabled. Tonight is informational. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments on these topics?
May I?
This is not up for vote this evening.
May I ask just one question?
Yes, Mr. Browse.
Is if we remove any mention of the curriculum from the model policy specifying that November 7th is recognized by the New Kent School Board as a Memorial Day for victims of communism, is that something you would feel comfortable in proceeding with?
Is that a direct question to me?
Yes.
I quite frankly would only be willing and interested in moving on this with a recommendation from administration.
One thing I printed out, policy IF, curriculum development and adoption. The curriculum is a coherent, comprehensive plan for teaching and learning built upon a framework that promotes continuity and the cumulative acquisition and application of skills. The curriculum shall state clearly and specifically what students are expected to know and to be able to do by grade level and course. New Kent School Board curricula shall meet or exceed the requirements of the Code of Virginia and regulations of the Board of Education. I get that's not really an answer to your question. That's just one thing I have printed out. I also noticed that curriculum guides and course outlines, policy IFE was deleted. So that's not in there, or it's no longer part of the policy. And then basic instructional program is policy IGA is no longer, has been deleted several years ago as well. I know there's, questions about it, but what our role is in the curriculum process.
I just want to add another point of clarification. So to me, it seems like we're doing exactly what we did last time, which is sort of having an overview or hashing out a discussion of we're not exactly sure about what. I feel like this evening, the program was re-explained, but no details or specific framework of proposing something to the board to consider, to approve or deny, to then pass down to the administration and the teachers has really been presented. We're just talking again about the generic program, the pieces and parts that it has, the resolutions and the policies that it has in a very broad stroke, in my opinion. And the point of tabling it was to bring it back with specificity to say, this is what your proposal is, and these are the things that we want the school to do, and then the board votes on that. So I don't think we've made that progress tonight, at least on this particular item. And I'm going to hold my opinion as to whether or not I believe this is something we move forward with or not until we have something concrete to make a decision about. So, Dr. Nichols, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, and I'll set the November 7th resolution aside for a second, but the Virginia Standards of Learners for History and Social Science really do aim to provide a comprehensive understanding of communism's historical impact and influence. It is seen throughout the SOLs at students. So I want the board to know that we do teach that, whether it's in US with foreign policy, contrasting democratic, capitalist, and dictatorial communist Soviet Union. So those pieces are part of our standards, therefore are part of our.
Well, in a simplified version, you're saying we already teach communism.
Yes, yeah, the origins, the development, and the harmful impacts related to communism as it threads through history. So that's outside of the resolution piece, but just know that it is part of the work that we do in the classroom.
All right, anyone else? All right, moving on. Number 9, unfinished business. Dr. Young, annual plan, Title 6B, second read. Waiting a long time.
Good evening, Mr. Pagano, members of the board, and Dr. Nichols. Tonight, we have a second read of the annual federal funding application, and I'm here to answer any questions or clarify any information for you that we need.
All right. Board members, we have the floor. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Dr. Young? Ms. Cunha?
I read it. I have no questions.
Great. Mr. Dombrowski? No. Mr. Vaught?
No, sir.
Mr. Reimer? I'm good.
Thank you.
Easy does it. All right, thank you. Next is citizen comment period that no one has signed up for, correct? All right. Moving on to action items. First is the approval of the fiscal agents and authorized signers as presented by Ms. Morgheim. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Mr. Vaught has the motion. Mr. Reimer has the second. Ms. Davis, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Pagano.
Aye. Motion is passed unanimously. Now we are voting for approval of the annual plan Title 6B. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ms. Cunha has the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Dombrowski has the second. Ms. Davis, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaught.
Aye.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Pagano.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on, we are considering the approval of the course request as presented by Mr. Miller. Do I hear a motion? Motion to approve. Mr. Reimer has the motion.
Second.
Mr. Vaught has the second. Ms. Davis, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaughn.
Aye.
Ms. Dobrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
Mr. Pagano.
Aye. And then finally, approval of the military family resolution as also presented by Mr. Miller. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Cunha has the motion.
Second.
Mr. Vaught has the second. Ms. Davis, please poll the board.
Mr. Reimer.
Aye.
Mr. Vaughn.
Aye.
Ms. Dombrowski.
Aye.
Ms. Cunha.
Aye.
And Mr. Pagano.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the comments section. Mr. Reimer?
So I had the opportunity to talk to the superintendent, and my mind just went blank. Our noble director.
Mr. Terry.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Terry.
And we had a very good conversation about the
Technology Committee.
technology committee and whether or not that was necessary. It may be, yeah, I know. It may be that a volunteer is appropriate. The superintendent and I are trying to work out an alternative proposal for the board that wouldn't involve a committee and might involve a volunteer. And we'll bring that proposal to the board once we've worked it out.
That's great news. Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Any further comments, sir?
No, thank you.
All right. Mr. Vaught?
No comments.
Thank you. Mr. Dombrowski?
Want to give a shout out to the George Watkins 4th and 5th grade choir that the concert they put on. The New Kent High School Employment and Volunteer Expo was awesome. I also had the chance with Miss Cunha to attend the Green versus New Kent County School Board court case lecture given by Mr. Anthony Green, which is one of Dr. Green's sons. It was phenomenal and so much information was gleaned from that. I also wanted to thank Dr. Nichols and Principal Strickland and everybody else who was so helpful and assisted in the stellar presentation that was provided to our honored guests from the General Assembly on April 22nd. I had the opportunity to attend the New Kent Elementary School Talent Show, where I also got to be a judge and was very surprised to receive a performance by New Kent Elementary School and American Idol contestant, former American Idol contestant, Grayson Torrance. It was super exciting. And then also the New Kent Middle School, just incredible, talented people, along with the art show that they had recently, just super impressed. I was very sorry. I know this has nothing to do with the schools and school board, but I'm just heartbroken to hear about the awful vandalization of Liberty Baptist Church. It either occurred on or just before the National Day of Prayer. Just wanted to send out my thoughts and prayers to them. At the National Day of Prayer, the New Kent Cadets performed another fabulous color guard. And then at the commemoration events for the Patrick Henry's March through New Kent, that was occurring this last weekend. Very exciting. There was a lecture the night before by a Mike Thessery. He's an author who specializes in American Revolution. His works include several books that are tailored for 4th and 5th graders, bringing history to life for young learners. And on Saturday, I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Kinney, who's the owner of The Ordinary across the street. And he generously donated a set of those books to each of the elementary schools, personally signed by him. And he insisted that I keep it low key, but his wife gave me permission to publicly express my thanks. And so I have done. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Cunha?
I had the privilege and honor of being on the interview panel with Mr. Pagano and Dr. Nichols and Ms. Strickland, the 3 finalists that we're considering for the school board student representative, and they are just amazing. Each one of them was an incredible student. It's going to be a hard decision to make. I'll let Mr. Pagano speak more on that. I'm going to be holding office hours this coming May 14th from 8:30 to 10 at Safari Coffee. So if you have any if you have some time to come out, if you have any concerns or issues you want to address related to New Kent County Public Schools, I'll be there. Thank you.
Well, I was gonna say no comment, but you now passed the buck to me, so just piggyback off your comments, the 3 high school students that we interviewed, each in their very own unique way, were phenomenal.
Yeah.
These kids are multi-sport athletes, academic successes, did very well under fire, interviewed by 4 adults. It was very impressive. It's gonna make it a difficult decision, or it's gonna force the board to change how we're actually structuring this thing, because all of them were amazing. And as always, just want to thank everybody for coming out and participating tonight. We appreciate all your hard work. Dr. Nichols.
Thank you, sir. Tonight just embodies why it's a privilege to lead, work, learn, and serve here and everything. We have fantastic kids who you saw them perform and get recognized. We honored staff, which is just the tip of the iceberg that makes us move. And then our families really rally and support. So just as we close out the board meeting, just incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to be here and do this work. So thank you, board.
Thank you, Dr. Nichols.
Thank you.
The next meeting of the school board will be a work session on Monday, May 19th, to be held here in the historic courthouse boardroom. The work session will begin at 6 p.m. Our meeting is adjourned tonight at 8 p.m. Thank you.